President, we are now live.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We're going to get started. First of all, I want to thank you all for your patience. We are going to reconvene from this morning's hearing. So we will resume the public hearing and begin taking testimony from the public on tax bills related to the mayor's proposed budget. Before proceeding, however, I want to lay out a few ground rules on how we will proceed with the public testimony. Before we hear the testimony, though, I would like to note one item for the record. I want to offer an amendment to the capital program and capital budget that requires no vote of this body today. This amendment restores the funding for improvements to existing facilities, also known as ITEF, to pre-COVID levels. Improvements to existing facilities exist in parks and recreation and the Department of Finance. The reason why these amendments are being offered at this time is that the Philadelphia Home Rule Charter spells out the requirements for any changes that are to be made to the capital program before council can enact an amendment to the capital program other than an amendment to delete a project. So we must first request through the mayor the recommendations of the City Planning Commission. The commission has 30 days in which to respond with its recommendation. So I want to start the clock running now and to ensure ample opportunities for this body to incorporate any potential capital amendments before passage of the budget. If all council members has a copy of the proposed amendments, not, please let me know. I believe everyone does. So the chair, Councilwoman Canona Sanchez, is going to offer this amendment on my behalf, and we're not requesting a vote again on the amendments. My intent is to get the amendment on the record. We now briefly recess our public hearing and go into our public meeting for the purpose of introducing these amendments into the into the official record. Chair recognizes Councilmember Canona Sanchez.
Thank you, Mr. President. I offer amendments to bill numbers 220284 and 220285 and request that a no vote be taken on them at this time.
Thank you very much. We'll see that stenographer receives a copy of the amendments so that we may be made a part of the record. We will now go back into the public hearing. Thank you all very much for your patience. Okay, we will start our public testimony. We'll lay out a few ground rules. We're here today to hear from you about the city's proposed budget and where you believe the city should focus its priorities in regards to taxes. Due to the COVID-19 emergency, we have implemented special procedures with respect to public comment, which were advertised, posted on council's website, and sent out in a press release. Speakers interested in giving testimony were asked to call or email us by 3 p.m. yesterday so that we could take the technical steps necessary to provide an opportunity for public comment in a virtual environment. To ensure that there is an opportunity for everyone here to be heard, certain ground rules have been established as follows. Your testimony should be about the city's budget and proposed taxes. All those who signed up to give public comment were telephoned at the beginning of this hearing and invited to join the hearing. Please make sure that your phone is muted at this time. Will be called in the order in which you were signed up. Once your name is called, please unmute your phone. You will then have up to today, because of the volume, we'll have 2 minutes to testify. So please adjust your testimony to reflect the 2-minute time limit. In order to be fair, we will intend to hold faithfully to the 3-minute limit. So once you ask to begin your testimony, a timer will be started, and when there are 30 seconds remaining to your time, you will be reminded of this. Once your allotted time has passed, you will be asked to conclude your remarks, and at that time, please mute your phone and stay on the line until the hearing is concluded. I want to thank you very much for your willingness to participate. We really appreciate you taking time out of your busy day. Mr. McDermott, can you please read the name of our first speaker?
Mr. President, I apologize. This is Councilwoman Bass. I am present.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Record shall reflect. Good morning. Are you connected from the first person?
Our first witness is Mo Rushdie.
Good morning. Good afternoon. I'm sorry. State your name for the record and please proceed with your testimony. Mr. Rushdie? Mo Rushdie? Are you connected?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can now. Please proceed with your testimony.
My name
My name is Mo Rushdie, and I'm testifying today as both the Vice President of the Building Industry Association of Philadelphia and as a founding member of the Philadelphia Real Estate Alliance, which was recently formed to utilize the skills, tools, and resources in our industries to impact the future of development, investment, and job creation in the Philadelphia region. I want to thank the Council President and all the members of Council for allowing me to testify today. Our city is at a major crossroads, and the need for services and programming has never been greater. Fortunately, tax revenue is coming in at higher amounts than expected, and the $1.4 billion in Federal American Rescue Plan funds allows Council and the administration the opportunity to take a step back and consider its priorities as it debates this last budget before the next year's mayoral election. For too long, to borrow Paul Levy's phrase, Philadelphia has taxed what can leave instead of what must stay. It is past that time that we shift more of the tax burden away from the income and business taxes. The mayor's proposal is a good start. The BIA is in the business of building and rebuilding Philadelphia, and City Hall is our partner in doing so. But our partner cannot keep up. L&I and the planning commissions are severely understaffed and in need of additional budget funding in order to ensure that projects are properly planned and reviewed for safety and neighborhood appropriateness, while allowing us in the development community the ability to move forward with our project on time and on budget. We recognize that there's an urgent need in Philadelphia for affordable housing options for a great many people, and we have been seeking to collaborate and craft policies with Council that help all residents in the city share in its prosperity. The MPI Neighborhood Preservation Initiative and its new Turn the Key program are steps in the right direction that the BIA supports wholeheartedly. But the best opportunity to generate significant quantities of affordable housing for Philadelphians would be to lift all the red tape on all public land dispositions and allow the private sector with its financing capabilities to take a leading role to get the solution implemented. We as a city also have a huge opportunity in investing close to $40 million to unlock thousands of vacant lots with U.S. bank loans, with the majority of it being vacant and clustered in Council Districts 3rd, 5th, and 7th. These districts also have the highest poverty rates in the city. It is time to put these properties to productive use. The BIA is sincere in its desire to be part of the solution, and we believe in solutions that work for all. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. We appreciate it. Next name.
Our next witness is Lauren Gilchrist.
Good afternoon. State your
Hi
name.
there, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please proceed
Hello?
with your testimony.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Council President. My name is Lauren Gilchrist, and I'm here today on behalf of the Greater Philadelphia chapter of NAIOP, where I serve as the co-chair of the Government Affairs Committee. NAIOP is a 501c6 organization that represents the commercial real estate development community in Philadelphia, and it is also a founding member of the Philadelphia Real Estate Alliance. Thank you so much, and to the rest of your committee as a whole for permitting us to provide testimony on the budget. The membership of NAIOP recognizes that there are many important issues to be addressed in the current proposed budget, from housing to crime and basic issues of public health. The city and budget must address a host of challenges that impact neighborhood communities and businesses alike. From our perspective, the city needs to broaden and grow its tax base through equitable and inclusive development to meet these compelling budgetary needs and improve the quality of life in our communities. It is this growth in the city's built environment that has been driving the tax resources necessary to invest in a high quality of life in all neighborhoods of the city, whether real estate, wage, or business taxes. Stifling or stopping this growth will restrict tax revenues that are critical to making the investments necessary to provide quality services to all neighborhoods. Chief among the things most squarely within city government's control to address are the processes that govern planning and development in the city. In order to invest in equitable growth, the processes of planning and development and the investments that will support them must be streamlined and adequately funded to ensure that developers of all shapes and sizes in all communities and at all scales can seamlessly move their projects through our city's processes in order to get to completion. One of the significant challenges in this system is capacity within the Department of Planning and Development. Even prior to the backlog of applications that was precipitated by the sunsetting of the 10-year tax abatement, the Department of Planning and Development had needed significant additional human resources to accomplish its mission. In today's budget, one additional headcount for the department has been proposed by the administration, despite a demonstrated need for 10 to 14 additional staff. Unlike other departments providing required reviews and issuing permits, very little of the staff time provided by the Department of Planning and Development is reflected in the calculation of fees associated with building permits. As a result, P&D is not allocated sufficient personnel and technology support to process applications for reviews and permits, resulting in long lead times to move projects through to full building permits. By way of example, it takes approximately 70 hours of staff time to review and manage one mid-sized commercial development project through the civic design review process. These staffing costs were not factored into the fees for building permits, since building permit fees were set prior to the establishment of the current CDR requirement. Fees generated through the building permit process should fully cover the expense of staff time to review new projects. Without fully funding planning and development, less sophisticated developers and some neighborhood communities struggle to navigate the permitting and entitle process successfully due to lack of ability to withstand extended timeframes and less than adequate technical support from planning and development staff. This is a long-term issue that will require creative problem-solving and process change, and NAIOP and the Philadelphia Real Estate Alliance are happy to lend our technical capabilities to solving this challenge. A comprehensive review of all city services required to provide planning, development, reviews, and approvals should be conducted to assure that the city is being compensated for the direct cost of services provided to developers. For now, however, it's imperative that you increase Class 100 funding to the department.
Ma'am, you got to wrap it up.
Okay, I have one more sentence, and then it's all back to you. So your full commitment to the department would be greatly appreciated. We'd love to solution with you, and let's work together. Thank you for the time and consideration.
Thank you so much for your testimony. We appreciate it.
Our next witness is Jamal Johnson.
Good afternoon. State your name for the record, and please proceed with your testimony.
Hello, my name is Jamal Johnson, General Manager of the Comcast Technology Center. I'm here today in my capacity as chair of the Building Owners and Managers Association of Philadelphia, commonly referred to as BOMA. I would like to thank Councilmember Clark and the Committee of Hold for this opportunity to testify on the proposed FY2023 budget. In past 2 years, the past 2 years have been challenging for a number of fronts. Now that things appear to be at a turning point as the pandemic is concerned, it is clear that we, as a community, must come together and clarify and carefully examine both where we are and where we want to go. For too long, the City of Philadelphia has relied upon revenue streams such as city wage tax, UNO, and BRT that are all portable. If the pandemic has taught us nothing else, it is that we've become too reliant on fragile revenue sources. Exhibit A, the city wage tax, in March of 2022, Center City office workers were sent home to remotely. For approximately 40% of these high-wage office workers, home is in the suburbs, not in the city, which means that those workers have not been responsible for city wage tax for 2 years now. Furthermore, if media reports are to be believed, there is a possibility that some, perhaps even many of these workers will continue to work remotely from their homes in the suburbs. At present, BOMA member buildings are at best 33% occupied, with no estimated timetable for when other workers will return to the office. However, we acknowledge the recently proposed budget offers a slight wage tax reduction. We hope this reduction makes it through to the process and is the type of message businesses and residents need to hear. As employers have bring work back to their downtown offices, they've been met with resistance. Many of those employees have theoretically enjoyed a 3.45% pay increase. They have not had to incur increasing transportation costs, nor have they experienced the time burdens associated with twice daily commutes. The daily news reports of shootings, crime, and unchecked illegal sidewalk behavior compounds the return to office narrative. Habits, perceptions like this are hard to break. We have grave concerns that this resident resistance will continue companies shrinking their footprint in the city and or leave the city altogether in favor of locations closer to their employee base. This will have devastating consequences not only to the commercial real estate industry, but in the city as a whole. The value of our buildings are tied in large part to the revenue streams they provide. When that revenue becomes anemic, it will no doubt cascade to the city's tax rolls in real estate. BOMA's long-standing position for the budget has been, at best, to support growth. At worst, do no harm. On the surface, one could argue that this status quo budget passed.
Wrap it up.
Here, I have one more do I'm done. That what happens with the $1.4 billion in the ARP funds are exhausted? After the transition plan, where are we? What does the future look like for the next administration? Make no mistake, our recovery period will be measured in years, not months. Repopulating our office buildings is the first step to recovery. In addition to the tax revenue stream, office work can stimulate our local business economy from restaurants and hotels.
Sir, you're going over. We're going over. You're going. Yeah. Look, I hate to limit the time, but we have a significant number of people. We want to make sure everybody gets a chance to testify, and we will have an additional time. So we're going to have to wrap it up. Before we proceed, if members, people that are on the list, witnesses, in the event that you didn't hear me, we're going to have 2 minutes for individuals to testify, and I'd ask that you please adjust your testimony to reflect the 2-minute limit. When you hear the first bell, you have 30 seconds to conclude your remarks. The second bell, we're going to ask that you please summarize and wrap up for your remarks. Again, time from time we adjust this, but today we have a significant amount of people. We want to make sure everybody gets a chance to testify. Next witness, Mr. McDermott.
Our next witness is Ben Connors.
Good afternoon. I'll state your name for the record. Please proceed with your testimony.
Good afternoon. I'm Ben Connors, President and CEO of the General Building Contractors Association, which has a membership of over 300 commercial, industrial, institutional, general contractors, subcontractors, and construction service firms throughout the greater Philadelphia region. I'm here on behalf of both the GBCA and the Philadelphia Real Estate Alliance. I'd like to thank you, the Council President, and all members of the Council for allowing me to testify. First, let me say the Mayor's proposal of increasing wage taxes is a good start. We believe City Hall has the opportunity now to convince businesses to locate here and grow our job base, lifting Philadelphians out of poverty with those new jobs. When it comes to accomplishing these goals, tax policies matter. But second, I ask that you allocate funds to improve city services, and especially by increasing the funds available to L&I to hire and train more inspectors. Philadelphia has been growing, and we hope to continue to do so, but as GBCA members build, L&I has not been able to keep up due to a lack of staff. As a result, important job-creating projects are delayed, and their funding is in danger. Meanwhile, unscrupulous contractors are incentivized to not file for permits and use misclassified labor, which results in unsafe construction sites and less tax revenue for the city. GBCA asks that L&I be given additional resources to proactively attempt to remedy this situation. Finally, I implore the City Council to stop imposing additional restrictions on construction. In recent years, City Hall has significantly increased regulatory imposed costs of construction at a pace that has not been conducive for growth. The truth is, Philadelphia has dramatically less construction than other cities and suffers greatly as a result. We implore Council to work with the real estate industry to come up with common sense solutions that encourage construction while addressing your public policy goals as well. If properly nurtured, our open Philadelphia is a city that grows equitably. We are eager to work together to help accomplish this. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you for your testimony. We appreciate it.
Our next witness is Sue Jacobson.
Good afternoon. State your name for the record. Please proceed with your testimony.
She is not connected on Teams, Council President.
Not connected. Next witness.
The next witness is Regina Hairston.
Good afternoon. Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Good afternoon, Council President Clark and members of the Philadelphia City Council. My name is Regina A. Hairston, President of the African American Chamber of Commerce of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware. Today in my testimony, I'd like to speak about Black business growth and why investment in Black businesses is crucial. As the second largest city for a majority diverse population, including 42.2% African American, we should be leading the nation in Black-owned businesses. Yet we have the lowest Black-owned businesses per capita rate of any major U.S. city at 1.8 Black-owned businesses per every 1,000 Black residents. Additionally, according to an annual disparity study, Philadelphia allocated 68% of its contract dollars to businesses owned by white males in 2017. We must do better. As we continue to collaborate and work together to build an inclusive business community, we must remain focused and reinforce intentional and targeted investments to build Black and brown businesses in neighborhoods across the city. While we have seen some encouraging and intentional legislation come out of this body, we cannot stop here. We should continually look to implement best practices from our other major cities like Chicago, Los Angeles, and Milwaukee to create a more equitable and inclusive environment for Black businesses. One such practice is to focus on and intentionally distributed American Rescue Fund dollars, as well as other forms of federal funding. Philadelphia has allocated $575 million of the $1.4 billion received from the American Rescue Plan for FY22 and $335 million for FY23. As 41% of Black businesses shuttered nationally during the pandemic, we must ask ourselves how much of this funding is going toward supporting those local and minority-owned Black businesses who need it most. Other cities like Los Angeles have implemented equity formulas to ensure that funding from the ARPA is going toward communities and small businesses disproportionately affected by the pandemic. Majority diverse city Milwaukee has allocated 20% of its ARPA funding towards supporting communities, small businesses, and industries impacted by the pandemic. We as a city should emphasize the importance of investing in diverse businesses, and that includes taking an in-depth look at the effects policies such as tax reform and contracting requirements have on our diverse businesses, more specifically with tax reform that provides relief from burden on small businesses, growth particularly Black and brown businesses. Moreover, a recent FY2023 survey conducted by the Diverse Chambers Coalition of Philadelphia indicated that a reduction in the BERT would have a positive or highly positive impact on their businesses. By taking the time to holistically look at all of our options and impacts our actions have, we strengthen our local economy and our Black communities. Other cities have made a critical point and priority to support Black businesses. We must follow suit. We have the responsibility and opportunity to make Philadelphia a more equitable place for all small businesses by investing in them, and the time is now. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony. We appreciate it.
Our next witness is Greg Windle.
Good afternoon. State your name for the record and please proceed with your testimony.
Participant is not connected to Teams, Council President.
Next witness.
The next witness is Reverend McKinley L. Sims.
Good afternoon. State your name for the record and please proceed with your testimony.
This participant is not connected as well.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Next speaker is Rama McKay.
Good afternoon. State your name for the record and please proceed with your testimony.
Taking this testimony. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Just proceed with your testimony, please.
Thank you. So I'm calling as a resident of Philadelphia, an employee of the University of Pennsylvania, and the parent of 2 children who attend Philadelphia public schools. I'm concerned about the chronic underfunding of those schools, and I'm calling about one important piece of the solution, which is ensuring that Penn and other wealthy nonprofits make payments in lieu of taxes or pilots to the public schools in an amount equal to 40% of what they would pay in property taxes. So Penn is the largest private property owner in the city, but as a tax-exempt institution, it pays no taxes on billions of dollars worth of non-commercial property. And we know that property taxes are a primary source of local revenue for our schools. When wealthy institutions don't pay their share, the result is that students, teachers, and staff go without. So for this reason, I and many others are calling on Penn to pay 40% of what it would owe in property taxes to the school district, and I'm urging the City Council to work with Penn, including the Board of Trustees, to get this commitment written into this year's city budget. I want to acknowledge that 2 years ago, Penn did agree to pay $10 million per year to the schools for a limited period of 10 years. This was an important step. Yet if Penn paid 40% of what it owes in property taxes, based on figures in the university's own budget, that would be at least $40 million per year, about 4 times the current pledge. Finally, I want to note that Penn has an endowment of over $20 billion. It's not right that such a wealthy institution should be subsidized through the act of tax exemption by the poorest big city in the United States. Paying pilots is a matter of justice and is a fundamental civic responsibility. So as a parent, university employee, and city resident, I hope that the City Council I hope that the City Council will act to ensure that Penn pays its fair share this year and every year. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for your testimony. We appreciate it.
I've been told that Sue Jacobson is now available.
Good afternoon. State your name for
Good
the record.
afternoon, Council President.
Go
Good
ahead.
afternoon, Council President, and good afternoon, members of City Council. I have been listening the whole time. I'm in now, which is terrific. I'm Sue Jacobson, founder and CEO of Jacobson Strategic Communications, and I'm also board chair for the Chamber of Commerce for Greater Philadelphia. So first of all, thank you for this opportunity to testify regarding this really important matter, particularly during this recovery period, to grow our economy and to reduce poverty and maintain quality services and make our city safer. It really is imperative, as my colleague Regina said earlier, that we increase the number of gainfully employed people in Philadelphia, either working for themselves or for others. And the urgency of this moment, it just can't be understated. At no other time in recent history have we had a more pressing need and confluence of available options to do so. The facts are that Philadelphia, as we know, it's being outpaced in terms of job creation and has fewer business establishments per capita than comparable cities. And these factors, they contribute to significantly less money being circulated locally. And now what's happened is that it is exacerbated by rising inflation, interest rates, and other costs on individuals and business, including property taxes. However, we can reverse these statistics and mitigate these effects by substantially reducing the city's, it is the highest in the nation, tax on workers, and it is a horrible double tax on people who run businesses in every neighborhood citywide, essentially giving these hardworking Philadelphians a raise at this critical time. And, you know, this is not an either or moment. The city can maintain and even improve services going forward by investing in job and business growth. You know, you've got the American Rescue Plan, right? You've got reasonable growth projections and now property tax revenue. And the bottom line is that Philadelphia is to realize true inclusive growth and change its designation as the largest poorest city in America. We've got to give Philadelphia a raise and invest in our workers, our businesses, and our city. So thank you so much for allowing me to speak, Council President and members of City Council.
Thank you for your testimony. We appreciate it.
Our next speaker is Tanya Lapido.
Good afternoon. State your name for the record. Please proceed with your testimony.
Great. Thank you. Tanya Ladipo here. I'm the CEO of the Ladipo Group. First, let me thank you for the time to be able to testify. I come to you as the CEO of the Ladipo Group, as well as a resident of Philadelphia. The vision of my company is to be the premier provider for therapy services, equity, diversity, and inclusion consulting. And I say that because we are a Black female-owned business in Philadelphia, have been since 2004. We provide therapy, mental health services to the Black and African-American community, and then we work with organizations throughout the country and world about equity, diversity, and inclusion consultation. As a small business owner, and we are small, we are a team of about 25 people. The way the tax structure in Philadelphia is very painful. Equity is important in the work that we do, and to live and do business in a city that does not have equitable tax structures is very challenging. And so I would implore council and in the budget to pass that business owners are taxed one time, not twice, which is how it currently stands. I do know that there is a lot of perception that when we're talking about businesses, we're talking about businesses that are bringing in billions and billions of dollars in revenue that have thousands and thousands of employees. And so I'm speaking as a very small business owner that when my company is taxed twice, what that prevents me from doing is hiring another local person in Philadelphia so that they can then pay rent or buy property, invest in Philadelphia, and keep the dollars here. So I would like first that to be changed. That would significantly help me and my company. And then I would also say, I think when we're talking about equity and inclusion, that when I watch my taxes that I pay as a business owner and as a resident, and I'm not having clean streets and I am not having safe streets to walk on throughout the city of Philadelphia versus a couple of neighborhoods. That is beyond frustrating. The city can do better, and I will appreciate, I think, all of council's support in making Philadelphia the city that it can be if we make some of these important changes. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony. We appreciate it.
Our next witness is Whitney Harris.
Good afternoon. State your name for the record. Please proceed with your testimony.
Hello. My name is Whitney Harris, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today. I come to you as the owner of Wolford HR Consulting. We are an HR consulting practice based here in Philadelphia that supports area businesses with their human capital strategy. I can attest to the challenges that we as a small business face in addition to the struggles of our clients. Post-pandemic recovery has been a long and arduous chapter for us as we're looking for ways to enhance benefit offerings, increase base salaries in hopes of attracting more solid talent, and reworking current compensation plans to weather what everyone else is calling the Great Resignation. In addition to running Wolford HR Consulting, I'm also a wife of a business owner and a parent to 2 future taxpayers. We believe that these days of rebuilding beyond the pandemic are crucial, and they really dictate whether or not we will continue to stay and fight to do business here in Philadelphia. I came here in 1997, a time when you really didn't want to be out on Market Street after 6 p.m., and now Philadelphia is a bustling destination for people my age, people who are dynamic, people who are entrepreneurial, and people who are talented. I would love to stay here and take part in what feels like a new version of Philadelphia. However, I do not want to sacrifice quality of life for just nostalgia. Nor will I ask my children to live in need while their parents work as hard as we do. We implore you to give Philadelphia a raise and ensure inclusive growth and job creation for the residents and business owners who do business here. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Our next witness is Blaine Stoddard.
Good afternoon. State your name for the record. Please proceed with your testimony.
Mr. President?
Yes, sir. Please proceed.
Okay, my name is Blaine Stoddard, and to the President and council members, many of whom I work with, BFW is a construction project management company, Black-owned at the Philadelphia Navy Yard. We have 21 employees. We've been in business 13 years. I just wrote some notes down so I wouldn't go over. Obviously, we would like for the City Council to consider a reduction in the wage tax and a reduction in the gross receipts tax, easing of doing business in the city, zoning and permitting, and doing business with the land bank. We'd also like City Council to consider not putting up any more unfunded mandates where businesses have to pay more to do business in the city, because as you can see, businesses and people are voting with their feet, and we have a 40% vacancy rate in Center City, which is the lifeblood of this city. Finally, a couple of things. I'd like the city to consider more with the monies you have now, and as you go through the budget process, to consider creating more jobs and job training programs so that we can deal with the level of poverty we're now seeing. Finally, the city, in terms of building affordable housing, the city knows how to build affordable housing. The Poplar homes were 185 units of affordable housing built, I think, in the 90s. The Nehemiah homes was 135 units of housing built by the city. So we're asking the city to not just consider giving land to developers, but subsidizing so that we in the development community can build both rental and home ownership units so that people that are of meager means will have a decent place to live. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for your testimony. We appreciate it.
Our next witness is Suvir Kaul.
Good afternoon. State your name for the record. Please proceed with your testimony. Good afternoon. Are you connected?
That was Suvir Kaul.
Next witness.
I
Our
believe
next
he
witness
dropped off
is-
from the call, Council President.
Okay,
We'll try to
next speaker.
reconnect.
Our next witness is Will Carter.
Good afternoon. State your name for the record. Please proceed with your testimony.
You guys hear me?
Yes, we can. Please proceed.
All right. Councilman William Carter, Vice President of Local Government Affairs for the Chamber of Commerce for Greater Philadelphia. Good afternoon, Council President and members of the Committee of the Whole. Once again, William Carter, Vice President of Local Government Affairs for the Chamber of Commerce for Greater Philadelphia. I want to thank you for this opportunity to testify on the budget today. As many of you are aware, I spent 16 years working in City Council as a legislative director and ultimately as Chief Operating Officer. The past 3 years, I've served as Vice Presidential capacity with the Chamber of Commerce for Greater Philadelphia. And I believe I have a unique perspective just on both sides of the public-private issue. But I'll just be straight up. For our city to really prosper, in addition to reducing gun violence and ensuring quality education, we have to help more people make more money, and that's inclusively, whether they work for themselves or they work for others. Honestly, it's that simple. I travel often and speak to counterparts in other cities. They're investing in hardworking people who either work for themselves or for others. They recognize more money being made, the more people getting paid, the better overall climate the city's in. But you don't have to take my word for it. You can look at the real data and facts that show for decades Philadelphia has not performed well in terms of growing local businesses and creating good-paying jobs. The facts show over the past 4 decades, report after report and study after study show Philadelphia has double-digit declining growth numbers, job growth numbers, while our regional competitors have double-digit increases. A major reason for this is because we have the nation's highest wage tax or tax on workers, and the only major city that double taxes hardworking business owners. Business owners in Philadelphia, therefore, have less money to grow their companies and hire employees, and likewise, workers in Philadelphia have less money to save or spend locally. If you pass by Conshohocken lately, like I do when I go out to KOP, sometimes you probably see more company signs in those buildings out there. Oracle is out there now. They used to be on the West Coast. They didn't locate in Philadelphia. They located out there in Conshohocken, where they can pay less, have paying jobs, and still enjoy the region's benefits. So right now, we're just making it easy for too many companies that are already here to move, and hard for companies to stay in Philadelphia. When they do locate outside the city, it hurts our ability to grow local jobs, enhance business-to-business commerce, and increase our tax base for healthcare, education, and public services. So in closing, I'd just like to say our city can substantially improve its economic standing with initiatives and policies that will grow all businesses and jobs citywide. And key to this is real investment in job growth, including meaningful wage and deferred tax reform that will help grow and attract employers of all sizes and put more money in working people's pockets. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony. We appreciate it.
Our next witness is Zach Wilka.
Good afternoon. State your name for the record. Please proceed.
Good afternoon, council members. I'm Zach Wilka. I'm Executive Director of the Independent Business Alliance, Greater Philadelphia's LGBTQ+ Chamber of Commerce. I'm here today speaking on behalf of Philadelphia's LGBTQ+ business community, which is comprised of all races, ethnic backgrounds, sexual orientations, gender expressions, and highly varied in industry. In October of 2021, we came together with our local African American, Asian American, Hispanic American Chambers of Commerce to develop and launch the Diverse Chambers Coalition of Philadelphia. The purpose of this first-of-its-kind local partnership is to work collectively as a community to meet the unique challenges diverse business enterprises face when they engage with our local economy. With the goal of economic uplift for and within diverse minority business community, we will speak with a unified voice on issues where we unanimously aligned. One of the goals of our partnership is to regularly conduct surveys to convey the experiences and challenges of our business constituents to those who can make an impact, like our City Council. Our business's main concerns can be distilled to 4 C's, namely cost of doing business with Philadelphia, clarity of doing business in the city, lack of cleanliness to a barrier to business, and being personally unaffected by crime. As for the cost of doing business in our city, the main thrust of the complaints is around the business-killing BERT tax, which our businesses overwhelmingly identify as their most onerous expense. The double taxes, which do not occur in similarly situated cities to Philadelphia, are grinding away at businesses at a historical moment when resources are thinner than ever. More dangerous for our city's future is the fact that these taxes simply do not exist in neighboring municipalities and makes the prospect of moving one business out of the city quite compelling. Regarding clarity of doing business with the City of Philadelphia, our business relayed to us how difficult it is to navigate the ever-changing and labyrinthine codes and regulations that exist to keep a business running. This is not to mention the difficult customer service, outdated technology, and the complicated rules that require person power that our small businesses simply do not possess to navigate successfully. An example of this is the Streeteries Bill, which once represented a lifeline for our hospitality-focused businesses to survive a pandemic, but have now turned into a nightmare of bureaucracy for businesses, especially those that operate outside of Center City. This is not an either-or moment to prioritize either city services or create inclusive growth of businesses and therefore jobs and the tax base. The city can maintain services while investing in job and business growth, particularly with the $1.4 billion of revenue from the American Rescue Plan. Regional and national competitors are outpacing Philadelphia when it comes to growing jobs and attracting new employers, which is due in part to the fact that Philadelphia has the city's highest wage tax and the only city that double taxes its business through a BERT tax. These taxes are a major reason why employers choose to locate right outside of Philadelphia. We believe in the city of Philadelphia. Our LGBTQ plus community businesses know that it's a world-class city and we want to stay here and be successful. They deserve investment as part of the values that our latest budget will represent. Our city can substantially improve its economic standing with initiatives and policies that grow all businesses and jobs citywide. The key to this is real investment in private sector growth, including meaningful wage and BERT tax reform that will help grow and attract employers of all sizes. Thank you so much for your time and consideration today. We look forward to working with you to forge solutions to the recovery of the city we all love to call home.
Thank you very much for your testimony. We appreciate it.
Our next witness is Jennifer Rodriguez.
Good afternoon. State your name for the record. Please proceed with your testimony.
Good afternoon. I'm Jennifer Rodriguez, President and CEO of the Greater Philadelphia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. For the past 3 decades, GPHCC has been the leading voice developing, promoting, and advocating for 12,000 Hispanic businesses in Philadelphia, while encouraging the advancement and economic growth of the Hispanic community. In Philadelphia, building an inclusive economy has become the top priority of both the private and public sector. This priority has become ever more critical in light of the disproportionate impact of COVID-19 in the communities of color and the Hispanic community in particular. At GPHCC, we firmly believe that entrepreneurship is one of the keys to solving the inequity that impedes the growth and development of poor and underrepresented communities and should be a priority of city government as it forms the new city budget. Research shows that families who own a business have higher median net worth than families who do not. And Hispanic families who own a business have 4 times the net worth of Hispanic families who do not. Entrepreneurs are the backbone of the economy, and across the country, the majority of new jobs are created by small businesses. But here in Philadelphia, entrepreneurship is on life support. We rank at the bottom of comparable cities for many key indicators of economic health, whether it is cost of doing business, ease of doing business, business creation, or job growth. It is more expensive to do business here than in Los Angeles, San Francisco, or Washington, D.C. Decades of decisions made by our leaders have changed Philadelphia's reputation from a world-class small business city, an innovation hub referred to as the workshop of the world, into a place that has earned a reputation as a place in which it is difficult to conduct business. Entrepreneurs have many location options, and increasingly, they're deciding against Philadelphia. In fact, the majority of respondents to a survey from the Diverse Chambers Coalition indicated that they would not recommend the city as a place in which to do business due to the relative high cost and difficulty of doing business, coupled with the alarming increase in gun violence. As City Council and the administration look for ways in which it can use the budget process to support the recovery of businesses, it should be noted that wage tax relief by itself, without a complementary reduction in BERT, would be an incomplete effort. The past 3 surveys conducted by the Diverse Chambers has confirmed that by far the BERT is the most burdensome tax for businesses with less than $1 million in revenue and with 5 or fewer employees, which comprises the majority of diverse businesses. Okay. At GPHCC, we're committed to supporting Latino-owned businesses as they emerge from the pandemic. We thank you for holding today's hearing, and the leaders and staff of our chamber are ready to work with you to build a stronger and safer Philadelphia for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your testimony. We appreciate it.
Our next witness is Ahida Garcia.
Good afternoon. State your name for the record. Please proceed with your testimony.
This is Aida Garcia. I'm an insurance agent in Philadelphia. I own my own business. I'm speaking on behalf of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce also, but mostly on my own behalf and on behalf of all small businesses owned by minorities, but mostly by Latinos. I am a risk consultant, very proud of being an owner of this agency in North Philadelphia. I currently have 6 full-time employees. I have been in business protecting mostly minority families and their businesses for the last 10 years. One of my main goals is to grow my business and to hire at least 5 more team members by the end of the year. These are well-paying and meaningful jobs. Salaries my team members receive are spent in our community. Philadelphia has one of the highest combined business income tax rates among big cities in the country, only second to New York City, I believe. The fact that we are taxed on gross receipt and also net income makes it much more expensive and difficult to stay and grow businesses in the city. I'm here today to ask you to consider lowering the business tax rate as well as wage tax rate for workers living in the city. That will allow me and also all business owners to grow at a much higher pace because I will be able to hire more team members. I would finally like to mention 3 issues that are badly affecting the quality of life of Philadelphians and need your immediate attention. The high crime rate, streets full of trash and also potholes, and the low quality of education. So I appreciate your time. I'm really glad that I have the opportunity to speak with you. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. We really appreciate it.
Our next witness is Joe Santiago.
Good afternoon. State your name. Please proceed.
How are you? Can you hear me there?
Yeah, you have a lot of background noise. So if you can eliminate that, that would be helpful.
Sure. Let me help you out. Good afternoon, City Council members and all attendees. My name is Joe Santiago, proud owner of JJS Property Services, LLC. The truth is JJS wouldn't be as successful as it is today if it weren't for several City Council members. So I want to take the time and opportunity to thank you and your guidance, and you guys know who you are. Today I want to talk about the impact of small businesses bring to the city of Philadelphia. There are obstacles that minority business owners have to endure simply to keep our businesses up and running, hiring new employees to be able to offer them better pay, benefits, etc. It is a challenge for us all, to say the least. I am sure you know the city of Philadelphia has the highest wage tax, and it is the only major city that double taxes businesses through business income tax and business receipt tax. Together, they are called the BIRT tax. We need this change so that small businesses have a better chance to survive and offer our employees a higher income and benefit. With that, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity of speaking today.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your testimony. We appreciate it.
Our next witness is Bram Fanua.
Good afternoon. State your name for the record. Please proceed with your testimony. Hello? Are you connected? Read your next name.
Good afternoon.
There you go. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Please proceed with your testimony, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Bram, and I own the small store, Asian store, grocery at the South 7th Street. Since our pandemic 2 years ago, I've been struggling a lot because the people just not shopping at the store, people going online, and the rent is going up so high. There's a killing all the businesses here. So I see so many of my friends just closing the store and leaving the state. So I believe that the main thing that because the rent so high and the business is just going up like crazy everywhere. So I hope this year, after a few years of saving and all the permit that we've been doing, we're gonna open the new kitchen. We're gonna renovate the back our store, and hopefully everything will be done this year. And once it's done, I hope that we can hire more people, we can generate more profit and more revenue for the city, and better serve the community. So I've been around for like 10 years in Philly. I've been looking at the place to live, and I love Philadelphia. I want to raise the kids here. Please don't leave us alone. Just help us. Let me stay in Philly, and that'll be all. Please help us. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much for your testimony. We appreciate it. We want you to stay here in Philly also, sir. Next witness.
Our next witness is Kain Zaw.
Good afternoon. State your name for the record. Please proceed with your testimony.
Good afternoon, Council President. My name is Kain Zaw. I am President and CEO of Asian American Chamber of Commerce of Greater Philadelphia. First of all, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Our chamber represents more than 13,000 small businesses in Greater Philadelphia area. And Asian American Chamber of Commerce especially have been active in helping the businesses, especially the small and micro businesses throughout the pandemic, helping them get grants and finding job opportunities. And as you have heard from many of our members, the most burdensome tax that they have been carrying is business income and receipts tax, also known as BIRT. We understand that wage tax is just as problemsome for many of these businesses, but without doing anything to lower the BIRT tax, it will drive these businesses out of Philadelphia. We have 1 out of 5 businesses, small businesses in Philadelphia, are owned by Asian Americans, and they want to live and grow with the city of Philadelphia. But the crime and the safety are the number one issues for businesses to operate and also get staff members to come and work, especially at restaurants and grocery stores. So with this public hearing, I would like to request the City Council to consider lowering BIRT tax, and also please visit the business corridors and also look at what these businesses are bringing in for the city. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you for your testimony. We appreciate it.
Our next witness is Jojo Peace.
Good afternoon. State your name for the record. Please proceed with your testimony.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please proceed with your testimony.
Okay. My name is Jojo Pierce. I am a vintage jewelry dealer. Because the business tax is too high in Philly, so this is why I moved to Swarthmore to be online business. I mean, I do want to rent a store in the downtown, but after I checked if I pay the rent, pay the employee, and pay the tax, I feel I will not make money, and we are a small business. So if don't make money, we just move, find the place, and have the low tax. This is what I do. Yeah. Is okay? Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate it.
Our next witness is Anna Lee.
Good afternoon. Please proceed with your testimony.
This participant is not connected, Council President.
Thank you. Next witness.
Our next witness is Thla Bowie.
Good afternoon. State your name for the record. Please proceed with your testimony.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please proceed.
Yes. My name is Thla Bowie. I'm a Burmese people, and I'm own the small business in Philadelphia. So before pandemic is running good, but after pandemic is so slow, and the tax is too high too. And yeah, I hope you can help to drop down the tax, and for the small business is running good. I hope about in this year or next year might be better to you help. And yeah, thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony. We appreciate it.
Our last witness is Noor Farida.
Good afternoon. Please state your name for the record. Please proceed.
Hello, my name is Noor. Hello?
Yes, go ahead. We can hear you.
Yes, my name is Noor Farida. I am a business owner of the business in South Philadelphia. I opened my business during the COVID pandemic. As a small business, it is very difficult to grow my business because tax is so high. And then right now, the customer also, they told everything right now high about that. Customer also come so slow right now. My business is so slow. So please help us to grow our business by reducing tax and making our community safer. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony. We appreciate it. A number of people did not respond or dropped off the call, so hopefully we'll be able to get their testimony in written form at a later date. For those that are still connected, just want to say that this is the start of the process. We appreciate you all's participation. There will be further discussion with respect to all aspects of the proposal and the tax proposal. And any statements by members they would like to make before we recess?
Yes, Council President, may I quickly?
Please do, Councilwoman Sanchez.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to thank some of the small businesses, Ida Garcia, Joe Santiago, and others. Many of these folks have been very active small businesses in the District 7, but, they service throughout the city. And I just wanted to thank them for taking their time. I know that there is an expectation that as part of this budget process, we will have some sort of BERT reform and some wage adjustments to get money back onto the hands of people. And I just want folks to know that we're just as serious on that work as we were when we started the work group. And I want to thank them for their time. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Are there no other comments or questions by a member of the committee? Thank you very much. There being none, this committee will stand in recess until Tuesday, May 10th, 10 a.m., at which time we will reconvene on Microsoft Teams. Thank you all very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. President.
You're welcome.